Hey there, power players. Welcome to the Worldview Podcast, where we turn ancient wisdom into modern success. I'm pumped to dive into Law 4 of the 48 Laws of Power with you today. Always say less than necessary. Before we explore this game-changing principle, make sure you're part of our growing community by hitting subscribe, dropping a comment, and sharing this episode. Trust me, you won't want to miss the powerful insights ahead that could transform the way you communicate and influence others. Let's get started.
I know this guy. I'm telling you, my friend, you'll die. There's no way that you know me.
You want to
know me.
identify? There's a
You are
story that
very
I
stupid.
heard about that thing in a certain podcast in Kenya. There's this podcast. It's called Itugi TV. Itugi TV is talk
Okay.
about ex prisoners. Yeah.
Right.
So
I don't think the truth has ever helped. Actually, the truth has put me in more trouble than anything. The truth has never assisted me in
yeah.
any way. At home, if you could have said who had stolen the rice or anything, they would have asked you, where were you? Why did you not come and tell us before we asked? The 48 Laws of Power actually is a very interesting book. You get to learn a lot from it because it really talks about real things. There's many case studies from the Bible, the Ming Dynasty, and many other stories from Machiavelli. They resonate with our circumstances right now.
Yeah, and something funny is that very few people know about these people that you're mentioning, like Machiavelli, Aristotle. Very few people know these guys, and some people think those are philosophy teachers, ancient people who used to just teach life skills. I think they don't know much about them. They don't know much about how they knew what they knew. But sometimes people learn from experience. I think a lot of things come from the Bible. I don't know if it's the same with you or something.
It's the same with me. A lot of things. The Bible is just like, to me, has recordings, many history, things that have happened before. So you find that some things will repeat. That's why it's important now to go through the scriptures, history books, manuscripts, because mostly these things will repeat themselves.
Yeah, that's very true. So, law number 4 today that we want to discuss is always say less than necessary. The fourth law of Robert Greene's book. This is something many people hear. When you speak too much, you expose yourself, or someone advises you don't speak too much. But people like talking much, people don't like to listen a lot. So, what do you think about this law? Always say less than necessary.
According to me, whatever Robert Greene was trying to pass across here is simple. It's just like the law itself says, always say less than necessary. At times, you might, it just says that just there are circumstances that you need just to be brief or even keep quiet if it will be if for your own sake. It's just brief. It's just, to me, it's that straightforward.
Yeah, it's very straightforward. He has put it in the very simplest form. Always say less than necessary. When you were talking about law number 3, I remember I told you that Robert Greene was not saying it like a request. He was putting it like a law. He says never, and then he mentioned things direct. He doesn't say like sometimes. No, 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 no. He just puts it like never, not do not. Do not has a
It's
doubt,
always,
but he just puts it never.
yeah.
So like today he has put it always say less than necessary. And I think this is a very, very important law.
Uh,
I think it's the most used law in the judicial systems. Have you ever been arrested before?
yes, I've been arrested before. But I did not go to court. They released me before that. Anything you say will be used against you in court. You just have to be silent and wait for your lawyer because actually you might be innocent, but whatever you will say might actually implicate you. So you have to be silent for everything to be okay.
Yeah, that's very true. I've also been arrested. And the first thing the policeman told me was, you have the right to remain silent. Only people who have been arrested know how that thing sounds. When you're being arrested, they tell you, You have the right to remain silent, as anything you say shall be used against you in the court of law.
Will be used against you.
Yeah, it's a very important law because when I was arrested, I've been arrested a couple of times. This is a story for very many people, very many, very many men. I will not talk about why I was arrested, but it's a story for another day. Some people say if you're a man, one before you die, you will be arrested. I don't know if it applies to everyone, but
Somehow.
in one way or another, you might be arrested. And this is a very important law for anybody who happens to be a man or a woman out there. So when they say anything you say shall be used against in the court of law, what do you think they usually mean?
I think initially when you just have to keep quiet. Maybe you might say anything that will implicate you. At the time they are arresting you, it's just a charge. You are not guilty, you are still not guilty. But as you are going on arguing, maybe you can commit an offense. That's what I think they mean.
Yeah. And some people are always very anxious, and some people are just cowards, let me say so. Once you are arrested, you want to defend yourself, you want to avoid the trouble. So, when you are arrested, did you?
Very annoying.
Yeah,
I think the question, whatever I wanted to say, it's in your question, the question before you were asked.
yeah,
Please continue.
yeah. So, I was asking, when you are arrested, did you arrive at you were taken at the police station, of course. Did you reach a position where you are interviewed by prosecutors?
That was too far. I've never reached that point.
Me, I have reached that point.
I was released. For you had gone too far.
Yeah, I would have been charged, maybe, I don't know. But I think my silence might have saved me, because when I arrived at that prosecution room for the interview room, first of all, I was taken into a cell. I called for a federal lawyer. So when she arrived, I talked to her about it first of all. So this is a story that can apply to anyone's life. Maybe you will be arrested, or maybe you might be arrested, God forbid. So when I called for my lawyer, they gave me
arrested in the river.
So I'm saying, when maybe you are arrested, and I called for a lawyer, and then she came. It was a lady, a very good lady. Maybe she will watch with this video. I appreciate her. I told her everything, how it happened, how I was arrested, what I'm being accused of, every detail. She told me, what is funny is that those lawyers, they usually know, like, they can presume what the prosecutors have at hand, what evidence they have, by just reading their mind. She told me, these guys, they don't have anything. Yeah, they don't have any evidence against me.
Just
Yeah. So she told me, the wisest decision is not to say anything in the interview room. Just go and say no comment till the end. So I know you have not experienced this, but that was my experience. So when the prosecutors were talking, I was just saying no comment until the end. And I was surprised in the end, because the lawyer told me they don't like that answer, and it puts them in a dilemma. They cannot do anything about it if they have nothing against you. But once you speak, they like people who speak. The prosecutor is there to arrest you, not to help you. And they take the simplest of details. If you just associate yourself with the scene of crime, that is enough to charge you. So let's say right now, you, Isaiah, you witness a killing. Then they come interview you.
I've seen some documentaries. Every day is a learning day.
Yeah. So it's very dangerous to speak recklessly. You better be silent. If I had talked, because I was innocent, if I was to talk and start blabbering, I might be in jail, right? I might have been in jail as we speak. So that was my story.
I've been eating beans.
I could have been eating beans and working for the government.
Eating beans right now. You sleep free, eat free. Hey, man, no paying rent.
Some people.
Yeah, that's true. But back in our village, there were some crooks
Mhm.
who would actually steal from the public and go to the chief's police station and commit an offense so that they can be arrested. You could hear them saying that I'm going home back for Christmas. And then you wonder which home is this guy talking about? And he's just talking about jail.
Yeah.
Ah,
Especially those criminals that are really known, like they are used to being criminals. Their life is the criminal life. They are used to coming in and out of jail all the time.
yeah,
So going back to this
real
law,
gangsters.
yeah, number one, I wanted to ask you. I've already narrated my situation where, so I wanted to ask you, have you been in a situation where you spoke and it brought you a lot of trouble?
Yes, I've been in such a situation. Actually, it's unfortunate. It happened back when I was in campus.
Mhm.
The idea that you should always be silent, sometimes to me it doesn't work. The guy who can stand up for my rights.
Yeah.
And back then in school, and there was this chairman who, let me call him the person X.
Yeah.
That guy with me cross lines anytime, any day. Whatever he talked about, I never supported. And whatever I thought about, he just saw that as a crime. So there's at this point in time, I went in his office to complain. We had done an exam,
Mhm.
and I think he just failed me intentionally. I don't have evidence that he has failed me intentionally, but I just know he has done it because at some point he had warned me. He had told me that we will just see. And now I'm going to actually went to confront him and told him, man, what have you done? I told him, I don't have time. I'm getting old in this school. I want to go out. I did not come to stay here for long. I just want to go out. Even if you just give me this, I'll be contented. I don't want to pass exams anymore. That's past me. And then the guy told me that no, you're failed. Then I told him, hey, knowing that this guy is self-centered,
Yeah.
I just let it slide. So I was to go out for a receipt. You see, now it's just a supplementary. I was to sit for supplementary. I prepared for the exam. Actually, I prepared for the exam thoroughly. There's one particular exam, he had failed me to 2 units.
Yeah.
I was preparing for the exam. And even before the result, I went and I told one of the lecturers. I told the lecturer, I'll fail this unit, and it's not my doing.
Mhm.
Yeah, I cannot control that. It's like I crossed the wrong path, but there's no going back. I'll pay for my sins. He failed me in our school, the School of Engineering. If you have a unit, you have to wait for a year because it was to be offered the next year.
Yeah.
I was bitter because of that. I had to wait.
Yeah.
I was doing 2 units which he had failed me. The one there's for 4 point. We are going to put here. There's that one was for 3.2, and the other one was for 3.1. If he had failed me the one for 3.2,
To
I
make
would have
sense.
actually
Yeah.
taken the receipt next year
Yeah.
and to go and I would go to now there. But this guy, what he did to me was actually savage. He failed me now the 3.1. And for 3.1, you have to wait
The
a whole
academic
year
year.
so that
Yeah.
you can become now actually again at that year.
Yeah.
The next academic year, you now retake the unit, pass it, and then move forward.
Yeah.
Actually, that's what transpired. I had to wait for 2 years. Since then, I went back and finished. I have never talked to that guy from that day.
Mm.
Even if we just cross paths anywhere, I don't think I can talk to that guy. It's just it's not that I don't like him, but sometimes I want just to greet him and maybe my boomerang kicks back and say, "Hey, man, what are you doing? Are you betraying us?" That's what happened to me. It was very devastating because at that point in time, I wanted to just finish school. I had stayed in campus for almost, I was past time. It's just, I was almost 6 years in, and I was to finish in 4 years' time. But due to some unavoidable circumstances, I was still there. Now I started blaming myself.
To have worked for you.
Being an activist costed me a lot.
You are reminding me of this activist that went to Tanzania. And then he came back to Kenya and said they sodomized him. Sometimes you might talk and people who can easily end your life. Sabotage yourself.
That's true. Talking sometimes can block your opportunities. That's a fact.
Yeah.
It can actually cause more
That's
harm.
good.
than you had anticipated.
Exactly. I was in church in Nairobi, and there was this powerful preacher. One of his preachings was very nice. He was talking about the power of the tongue. And he was saying that the First World War was just one person's command, and it led to multiple millions of people dying. And it's the same for very many cases. Power of the tongue is very, very, very powerful, because a slip of the tongue might mean disaster. Your story reminded me of that. I don't know if you know the story of that thief. There's a thief that was on the cross with Jesus. There were two thieves. One asked for mercy, and then there was that other guy who cursed Jesus and said, "Why don't you help yourself if you are the Son of God?" Do you remember that story?
If he said, I remember that story. The guy said that if you are the Son of God, why don't you rescue us?
And rescue yourself. And then he ended.
Yes. Yes, all suffering.
Then he ended up his eyes being plucked out. He suffered a lot before his death. Then Jesus promised the other guy eternal life.
The tongue is very powerful. It's just like a saw. It cuts both sides.
Yeah.
So it can actually do you good or harm you the way you've never anticipated. So at some point it's good to not react, just listen. If you think whatever you'll speak will not add value, just keep quiet. There's always another. Sometimes we say, like for me when I was practicing training martial arts back then, they used to tell us with our sensei that at some point you just have to surrender. There is no way you'll always win. Sometimes you just have to surrender and turn away. It does not mean that you're a coward. It's just that's the strategy that can actually win you.
Yeah. And you know why I have related your story with that of Jesus is because you were the student and then there was this master. And also, there's another story of Jesus in the Bible as well, where when he was speaking to, and then they asked him if he was the king of the
Jews.
Jesus was very wise. He said less.
That's what brought him trouble. If he would not have said that way, I don't think if they would have crucified him, crucifying for himself.
You,
Because really, it's like they're asking you. Well, then you say, it means that you agree. But Jesus knew how to argue. I think at that point in time, he just wanted to die.
yeah, because it was destined anyway. But his story is also,
That was a suicide
yeah, it
mission.
was suicide. Imagine telling the king that
How are you the king? And that people are saying that you're the one leading rebellion.
some stories in the Bible, they are really, really interesting and they connect to the real world. Like, there's nothing that someone can say today that was not said in the Bible. That's the very funniest thing.
Everything.
Like you see these teachings of Robert Greene about always saying less than necessary. And when preparing for this podcast, and I came across a verse in Proverbs 17:27 thereabout, and it was saying that the one who has knowledge uses words in restraint.
Now that was the food in me back then. I thought that we are equal. My understanding of life is I've come to actually observe and learn that there's no way that there will be justice.
There's no justice.
There's always Goliath and David. Goliath and that story of Goliath and David does not happen every day. At some point, David will kill you. Goliath wins in this real world. Goliath many times, so that out of 100 cases, I think I don't think.
So you mean that story about you placing a bet on a certain day? Goliath won that day.
Goliath won. Imagine, there's no way that you'll win against the system.
That's true.
Even if you join them and you don't fight them again, they'll win. They find a way to. They will find a way to win. You don't know.
Yeah, that's why you cannot just come with your story that you want to overthrow a regime.
It happens because people resonate with the same thing. Maybe they want the same thing. But if we want buildings, we just want to eat, pass our time. Maybe we're not ambitious. It's not that everybody wants to have cars or good life anyway. Because if people would really want that thing, to have good life and good systems to work, I think right now especially here in Africa, would not even be suffering. Because you can't explain until we have raw materials. It's hard to use the raw materials that we have because somebody else will steal it and go buy a building maybe in Dubai. The money the guy has been given. Actually, these people are funny. Instead of building here a hospital, there's a case in Uganda. It's a true story. It
Yeah.
happened recently. One of the ministers was actually diagnosed with cancer. The guy went to Germany. He was treated and came back cancer free.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Do you know what this guy
What
did?
did he do?
This guy is very foolish. Instead of coming to build a hospital so that in the future, if even the cancer comes back, he cannot travel there because he has seen the machines. It's just like a
Yeah.
benchmarking. Or even paying for doctors to go back in Germany and see what the guy comes and builds a church.
Someone said that if you want to rule people, control what they eat, control their subsidize their wealth.
Control their
Yeah.
mind.
Make them comfortable by just people who are comfortable. People are very comfortable with the little. If you offer just survival.
That's why they always misinterpret the Bible sometimes in the Beatitudes. I don't know that happy at the poor. Which poor man is happy? There's not happy at the poor.
And
It's the poor in
people like
spirit.
hope. People like hope. If you recall, the last time you felt very low, hope was just keeping you up, and you just wanted someone to offer you words of encouragement. That is why people who are suffering, they like such things. They like to be told tomorrow will be nice.
I developed a different mentality because I really suffered in school. It reached a point I was not even hopeful that I'll even finish or think. I became hopeless. Even there were some people who were telling me back then that I've become a zombie. I actually became very hopeless, and I told myself I just assessed the reality, reflected, and told myself if paying the school fees for one semester is a problem, what about two? And even if you pay, where will you get food?
Yeah.
Anybody who is encouraging me, are you giving me what? Then I told myself, even if they pay for me, I'm already depressed. When they step in class, I feel like I have to drink something. My head is not okay. At some point, hope is very expensive. Those who are depressed, I think that actually it's a bad thing, but that's reality. At least you have accepted. There's no way out. For me, back then I had it's only my wife. After marrying, that's when actually I finished school. I think if I'd not, if I had been a bachelor up to now, I think I'd not have finished that school because to me it was over. I was actually planning life without a degree because I was telling myself, even if you finish, we'll employ you. And then I tell myself, actually no point. And then I tell myself, okay, I'll become a farmer.
You're reminding me of my own story as well, because sometimes when you have lost hope, you don't care. Nothing matters. You become
How
you
does
say,
it
let me
matter?
enjoy today.
Yeah,
Let me
I
enjoy
mean,
today because I will die after all. There is nothing to live for.
that time I was saying, anyway, I will die. This world is not my home. It's already littered. So why should I fight for something that I cannot control? I've tried my best. I've tried to turn up every day. Nothing is changing. Nothing is working. At last, I told myself, and let me isolate myself. Maybe something good will happen. Actually, God did work for me, but I never believed in anything positive back then. I was actually
Yeah,
pessimistic.
you are optimistic.
If, if anybody would come with an idea that
You are ruthless. You just tell someone that is nonsense.
my words, nonsense.
Sometimes that
Actually,
thing.
the way I used to talk back then usually helped. I actually assisted one of my friends without knowing. The guy was starting a business. I sat down, analyzed, and asked him, "What's the end game? What do you think you're doing?" Actually, that is the fuel that assisted that guy now to achieve something big because he knew if he fails, I will tell him that I had already told you you are failing. And you actually insisted and wasted your time. Because that guy was doing some stupid things, but I thank God he succeeded.
I
But
think I think
life is so
that
hard.
applies to when you say too much, you become less authentic. Like when you just put things straightforward, you tell someone this will not work and this is foolish. Instead of defending your point, you say, if you do this, it will go like this. Those people don't listen. They want you to give them what they are hoping for. People like hearing what they want to hear. That's why politicians thrive.
People. That's true, because a politician comes and lies to you that we are going to build for you markets, roads, and actually they have not even improved your production. Why should they now build roads? What do they want you to transport? How will that improve your life? At some point in our village, people are cooking illicit liquor. In my village, people are excelled in chemistry.
It is called,
so they were cooking
fractional distillation.
They actually fractional distillation. At some point, I was also participating. You are in the same village. When the politician came out, it's still a lucrative business. The politician came and told the villagers that actually, I don't think if it's okay to build you a road, because if I build you a road, policemen will easily find you. It will be accessible. So there is no need. And actually, the villagers agreed with that guy. Even the villagers are criminals.
People like hearing.
He was assisting them.
There was a time, some guy back then, my friend, he was busy surrounding his life with article writing. That's something I was doing back then as well. Then I told this guy, this thing is seasonal. And he quit campus. We were with him on the same class. He had made some good money. This guy, he was brilliant in class. One of the top guys. I even feared him because the guy was actually very brilliant. Then he made like 150,000 from writing, article writing. Then he said, I think writing is better than anything. I can just do writing and to hell with this education. Remember, we were doing electrical and electronics engineering. So this guy decided, let me focus on writing. And it was good, by the way. This guy became rich, fancy, he looked nice on social media and such. Then he married a beautiful girl. But sadly, that girl was also from our class. She was sleeping around. So the guy started...
One of the rules back in school, it's never date your classmate or any rule. Colleagues, classmates.
So we were in school with this girl. We always knew she's sleeping around. News was reaching him. He started now taking alcohol. Now, now the stress is creeping in and he has money. And he's a kissy. This is a kissy. So the guy became more naive. Then his story just ended up worse because now it reached a point where he decided to buy an account. You know about accounts. Most people have done this article writing. They know about accounts. So he said, let me buy Issei Shark account. So that guy was called all his savings, 300,000.
He went
back to square zero. So it was a very poor decision. Anyway, so there's this thing I've been thinking about, this law. Where does it apply the most? Where do you think it's most applicable?
These are laws, say less than necessary. Always say less than. I think it's applicable in most parts of life, every aspect of life. Like for me, I was not a politician, but I wanted to stand my ground. Take it easy at some point, breathe out, and then just take a deep breath, okay? And just ask yourself, am I Goliath or David? And is this the Bible or where am I? People have died because of just talking. In Kenya, there's this guy who was there in Mombasa. Actually, he abused the governor there. The guy was actually, he was molested. You see? And nothing has been done. I don't think there'll be anything. For me, I always know there's this thing that I've written. We have Bill of Rights in the Constitution, isn't it? I think it's chapter 4. But those rights are there. That's the spirit of the law. I actually understand and know it's there, but there's no way that a police officer will arrest me and I'll start telling him that I know my rights. That is suicide. They can tell you thoroughly. Here you're not in the United States where they have coders.
Yeah, what is streamlining people, especially in Europe? You must start recording, and then you have that right to record yourself. So we are not yet there in Africa. So you are the David there. There are very little chances of you winning.
But I'm the David here and I don't have the
Yeah.
sling. Even if I throw my sling and miss, there's another Goliath. That's the problem.
Yeah.
In Africa, actually, these institutions have been weaponized against everyone. There's no way you will win. But you have to understand where you are. At some point, tout here in Nairobi, there's a way you cannot talk bad to a tout. When asking for your change or telling you that, oh no, this is not the cow of your mother. Or maybe take this example. I've attacked you. I'm a thief. I don't have money. I have my family. I have to feed them. I want to feed my family. I've attacked a car. I don't know if you are there. When I'm coming to collect your phone and money and you tell the guys in the car, I know this guy. I'm telling you, my friend, you'll die. There's no way that you know me.
You want to identify. There's a story that I heard about that thing in a certain podcast in Kenya. There's this podcast. It's called Itugi TV. Talk about
right.
So there's this guy. The guy had just come fresh from jail. Then, so he was being interviewed of how his story in crime. And you have just hit the nail on its head, because the same story you're saying is what he was saying. There was a time they were robbing a minibus. Then a neighbor of his was in that van. But this guy did not talk anyway. This guy did not talk. But now the thief was unmasked. Then he saw this guy. He saw this guy. They saw each other. So this guy, this guy should have hid his face, but he looked at him. He didn't have an option. He just said, this guy must go. And he said they killed this guy. They killed him, and because of seeing, they just believe this guy will not control his tongue. He will go out there and speak.
There are some instances where they say seeing is believing, but actually there's no way. It's not a must for you to see so that you can believe. There are some instances you just have to guide your tongue, because if you talk, you lose your power. There's some instances you just have to keep quiet. These are scenarios which events happened back at home. There's at some point when I was a professional drunkard. So they did send me to go and bring my small cousins that disappeared gangs. I told my family members, I'll actually go and bring them. I know where they are, but actually don't beat them, don't beat them. But these guys, the moment I brought the guns, hey, my lord, they beat them as if they were thieves. And then I told these guys, man, why are you taking these guns? They're just human beings like that. And then they told me, shut up, or we will argue it down here. You see now, they did not appreciate even that I had.
You're reminding me of those days when you were young and your mother calls you.
I just say, we will not be.
You come, you are guilty. They say, who stole the money? And then they ask you, did you see anybody stealing? If you say the truth, is good. We shall give you a present. If you say you are a good person, the moment you say yes, you say yes, hell falls on you. They descend on you like nothing, like you are nothing. So sometimes you just need, if you are silent, you will save your life.
That's true. Even when you are going to your in-laws here in Africa, there are some things they tell you, don't talk about it. If you talk about it at some family, they just chase you away. Say, no, we will stay with our girl.
What do you do? Answer like.
What do you do? And our girl told us that you're an engineer, and you are coming here to say that you're a content creator.
Or they ask you how.
Yeah, and you tell them that she will have to get. I'm looking for some tasks so that she can go to work.
Or someone, your in-laws. Let me say you have a girlfriend and it's your father-in-law. Then he asks you, how many times your wife should be cooking for you?
Oh,
every day. Anytime I say I'm the man. That is what should happen.
I'll say, even if I come at 2 a.m. with chapati and the beans, we have to eat. Or with a knife hen that he wants you to eat now, chicken. How? Are you okay?
So that preparing. That is what they want to.
But actually, the tar has killed many people,
And then,
especially here in Africa.
yeah, and then there's this other thing that I was trying to figure out. I think sometimes you might speak the truth and it sets you free, because it has also worked for me.
Mhm.
You see, sometimes it might help you.
Yeah,
Help you.
help to assess the
Yeah,
environment.
especially when you are in trouble. Let's say you know this truth. If said, it will help you cut a lot of stress. Like sometimes you might do something bad, and then you want these people to just cut the story short, let people know the truth. Yeah, have you been in such situations? Maybe.
Where I have wronged someone.
Yeah,
Or
where say the truth and then it helped you.
I don't think the truth has ever helped me. Actually, the truth has put me in more trouble than anything. The truth has never assisted me in any
Yeah,
way. At home, if you could have said who had stolen the rice or anything, they would have asked you, where were you? Why did you not come and tell us before we asked you?
yeah, yeah,
So at some point in life, I knew the truth is expensive. It can cost you a lot, but it can actually help you if you are to be
yeah.
jailed. And if you speak and prove it in court, it's not about what is the truth. It's what can be proved to be the
Exactly,
truth. If it
exactly.
cannot, you'll just have to go.
Especially when you know something that might help in the case. Let's say you've been arrested for a case about murder, and then you know the truth who murdered someone, and you know where this person was murdered. Sometimes just saying the truth might help the investigatives to go and just get us to go and just unleash the evidence. Yeah. So I think we have discussed a very good thing. I don't know if you have anything to add on top of this discussion.
Don't have anything to add, but I'll just give people some tricks here. One of the tricks that I
Yeah,
did. To me, I never like arguing nowadays. But back when I was still growing up and I was still young
yeah,
and naive, I liked arguing. I could argue with a person until maybe even we disagree and actually even fight because of just an. But
yeah,
there's this thing that I've learned. Yeah, I usually tell a person, why argue when you can always see? You continue. There's no way. You know that one, you have not
yeah.
said anything. And you are just giving the other person. This person goes and says, what did that see
Yeah, you
mean?
leave them in a dilemma.
You're in it. Yeah, you have power and you just shut up. You're in the middle, people arguing, and then they ask you for your opinion. You just laugh, give them feelers, leave them confused. Your opinion counts, that's true, but not really every time.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
have to know where you are.
I think I've met who natural. Some people, this thing comes naturally, but most people, it doesn't come. You have
Mm,
to practice it. I've been graced to meet some of the guys who don't
mm.
talk much, and it is always uncomfortable to be around such people because you don't know what they are thinking. You don't know what their next move is going to be. Have you ever met someone you made them angry and then they don't say anything? It's always very powerful. You even wonder, what will I do here? You don't know what they'll do next. You don't know if they're angry. You don't know if they're not angry.
Those are the most dangerous people. Some of us react.
Yeah. And we tend to overreact, and then you look, some people even they start shouting. You look like now you are the fool in the conversation. So I would just like to tell people as we finish
Yes.
this, I think I would just like to tell people a few things. I would like to ask people to go and read the Bible in Ecclesiastes 5:2. It says, "Do not be quick with your mouth, hasty in your heart to utter anything before God. God is in heaven and you are on earth. So let your words be few." That is the case of Goliath. Yeah, you want to argue with people you cannot beat. Finish this video. I don't know if you have anything to.
I don't have much to say. Maybe if you read the 14 laws
Yeah,
of power, there's King Louis the
yeah,
14th. He used to say that he
yeah.
is the state. If you could have told him anything, any point as a minister, you'd just say, I will see.
You don't. He.
Maybe if you decide it's a good idea, you'll see the actions. Let action speak for you. If you have a project, just
That's
do
true.
it.
That's true.
telling people kills.
Yeah.
Now expectations will be there now, and most of us don't live to the expectations. That's why keeping actually concealing your intentions or even your words, mincing your words. It's actually true. Because actually talking a lot kills your aura. You just some people just say, look at that mad guy. He just laughs every time.
Yeah. They
Mad guy.
usually don't trust that guy. He talks a lot. Have you ever heard that? Don't trust that guy. He talks a lot.
Yeah, actually, there's that he'll even at some point did not tell me things. They could say that if you tell him, he'll laugh at you. There are some things now. There are two serious occasion it does happen. That's why it's good now to keep things to
Exactly.
yourself. Some things you just have to keep to yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm.
Thank you very much, Isaiah. I believe this was a good session, and I'm hopeful that we shall meet on the next session with Amos or with you as well. I believe our viewers have enjoyed this session. See you next time.
Inshallah. Thank you.